We are live in the traditional Lenape lands, also known as New York City at Bryant Park. Today we'll be live streaming the arrest Netanyahu at the United Nations protest organized by the Palestinian Youth Movement, the People's Forum, and the Answer Coalition. Israel, led by their Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has continued to escalate their intentional and direct attacks on civilian populations, particularly affecting women and children in Gaza and the West Bank. According to the Gaza's Ministry of Health, over 40,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israel's bombardments, most half of them being children, and 710 of them being under the age of 1. Although most of the world has seen the most documented genocide in history, Israel has not stopped their killing, and the United States has not stopped supplying it. Within the past 9 days, Israel detonated cell phones and walkie-talkies in Lebanon in tandem with missile attacks. These attacks killed 588 Lebanese civilians, which Lebanon declared on September 23rd as the deadliest day in its history. The United States has given Israel approximately $47.3 billion in aid. As the UN Forum features leaders from across the world's desire for peace, we ask, what does that mean? Israel's ambassador described Israel as a peaceful nation, the day after killing 588 Lebanese civilians. Again, the deadliest day in the country's history. And it being founded on the ethnic cleansing and genocide of Palestinians since 1948. World leaders at the UN continue to vent their frustration at the inability to barter a ceasefire as Israel continues its genocide against the Palestinian people and raids Al Jazeera press offices in the West Bank. Even as we are live, Israel is moving military assets into the West Bank and the Lebanese border, signaling an all-out invasion. We thank you for joining us here today live. As indigenous people of this continent, we also say no genociders on stolen land. Liberation for our people, our Palestinian relatives, and our other than human relations. We want a livable future for our children, our families, land back, and freedom for all political prisoners like Leonard Peltier. Thank you for joining us. We're going to head in here. I'm assuming we're going to listen to some speakers for a bit, and then we're going to be marching and see what happens next. Again, this is also in the backdrop of Climate Week. Here in New York City. As we're having this conversation, the Category 4 hurricane is in the Gulf of Mexico, about to slam in to the coast. What has been described as an unsurvivable storm surge is expected there. Again, war is a climate issue, and we're bringing you out here live. Again, we're here in front of the New York Public Library for this rally. This rally that's supposed to go into a march to protest Netanyahu coming to the United Nations. We will be just following the march. Again, it was thrown by the Palestinian Youth Movement, the People's Forum, and the Answer Coalition. And we're just here on the ground again to discover what's going on, amplify what's happening, and let our relatives know what's going on at home. You know, this is what New York City is like right now. There's already been actions trying to block the entrance to the UN, the expectation of Netanyahu arriving here today hearing that he has arrived here today. Rumors are, again, that's a rumor. I don't know if I should say it. Look on the internet. Let me know what's going on. Again, let us know where you're watching from. I'm Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media here at the NDN Collective. I'm here with a good little ground team. Going to bring you this live for a bit, probably about 2 hours, so get comfortable. Let us know where you're watching from. And also, just prayers for all our relatives down in the south as this hurricane is headed in your direction. I'm definitely thinking about you. Again, if you don't know about that hurricane, it's one of the widest hurricanes in history. The breadth and size of it, unprecedented in over a century. There's again, these are all things that were predicted. They were talking about how the warming climate was to accelerate climate change and even conflict. Climate change was to accelerate conflict as people ran from places that became uninhabitable, had become uninhabitable because the rising temperatures and wild storms are kind of starting to appear. If we look to our left here, we can see the NYPD officers kind of lining up in front of the New York Public Library. There's candles placed on the steps here to signify lives lost. And we'll be hearing about that all, I assume, here in a moment. It looks like right now. And we'll see if we can get you a little closer. So we're tracking this information that's coming in. It sounds like it's possible that Netanyahu's plane has landed here at New York City. Again, there has already been blockades. As people don't really know when he will arrive, but people are very angry, and including UN speakers. We've been listening to UN conversations. A lot of them are calling for peace and calling out the actions of the Israeli government under Netanyahu as it continues genocide against Gaza people, against Gaza and Palestinian people. It's pretty wild to see this all going on. Also, they call it the most live-streamed genocide in history, and it just continues and continues.
Genocide and 11 months of resistance, we are here to let the world know and to let the people of New York City know that this is not tolerated in our city. We come together as we have as a united, powerful movement to display our demands. Arms embargo now. Stop the genocide now.
Thank you. So, we're going to try to get you all closer. I'm back.
I'd like to call Mariam from the Palestinian Youth Movement. Netanyahu, you can't hide! You're committing genocide! Netanyahu, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide! Biden, you can't hide!
Biden, you can't hide!
You're committing genocide!
You're committing genocide!
Biden, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Are you a criminal? The butcher of Gaza landed in New York City today! For almost a year, Netanyahu has overseen the genocide of our people in Gaza.
He has overseen a genocide that is funded, armed, and enabled by the U.S. government. This genocide is a continuation of over 75 years of ongoing occupation and colonization of our people. And if Netanyahu had landed in any other country today, I guarantee you he would have been arrested. But in this country, in this sick country, instead he was greeted with a police escort. He was sent to an expensive hotel. They used our tax dollars to protect a war criminal. They use our tax dollars to barricade our own streets, to repress our own people, and again, to protect a war criminal. And the United States could stop this war today. The United States could stop this war with an arms embargo. But instead, our government, and we just got this news today, has passed billions more in aid to Israel. Billions more in aid while claiming that they want a ceasefire. And now this war is expanding to Lebanon. It's expanding to Lebanon because the Zionist regime has always been a bloodthirsty regime. It's always been a regime that seeks to expand its occupation, to occupy all of the Arab world. The Zionist regime is a threat to liberation that we will not tolerate. For over a century, the Zionist entity has been responsible for the murder and displacement of hundreds and thousands of our people. And today, it continues with its genocidal project. We've lost hundreds of thousands of martyrs resisting Zionist barbarism. But nothing will keep us from continuing our resistance. In Gaza, in Lebanon, now and historically, our people have paid the price for liberation with their lives. With their lives. And here, we pay the price for this war. We actually pay for this war. Our government, as much as the Zionist government, is responsible for the murder of over 30,000 Palestinians and the murder of over 600 Lebanese people today. It's responsible for the forced displacement of hundreds of thousands, for the imprisonment and torture of men, women, and children. But nothing will break the resolve of our people. Nothing is going to stop our resistance. And here, in New York City, nothing is going to keep us out of our streets. Every time one of these filthy war criminals comes to our city, whether it's Biden, whether it's Netanyahu, whether it's Kamala Harris, we're going to be here to greet them with a protest. We're not going to rest until we see Netanyahu arrested. We're not going to rest until all of our demands are met. We're not going to rest until we get an arms embargo. And we're not going to rest until our people in Palestine are free from the river to the sea. We want justice, you say help! Stop bombing Gaza now! We want justice, you say help!
justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how?
Again, if you're just joining us, we are live streaming the arrest Netanyahu at the United Nations protest organized by the Palestinian Youth Movement, People's Forum, and the Answer Coalition. Thanks for joining us. We're going to keep listening to speakers here, and we'll update you more in a second. Let us know where you're watching from.
Free, free, free Palestine! Woo! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Everybody, we are here because there is an international warrant out for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu! But the United States and the Western countries who control the UN will not put a hand on him! So the people of conscience in this country and the people of conscience all around the world are here to say that we demand the arrest of Netanyahu! And they don't want us to disturb the UN. So everybody, with one voice, we say, Netanyahu, you can't hide!
Netanyahu, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
We charge you with genocide!
Netanyahu, you can't hide!
Netanyahu, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
We charge you with genocide!
And we know that after the bombings in Lebanon this week, we know that the fight against Israel, the fight against U.S. imperialism is an international fight. And that is why in New York City, in the heart of the empire, we have comrades from all around the world who stand with us and struggle. And so I would like to invite a speaker from the Korean Anti-imperialist diaspora group, Nodutol. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free!
Hello everyone, my name is Yunmi and I am a member of Nodutol for Korean Community Development. I stand here today in the company of hundreds of comrades to demand an end to the colonization, apartheid, and genocide of the Palestinian people, which has been presided over by our most shameful visitor, Benjamin Netanyahu. I am proud to be here today with the Korean contingent for Palestine because we Koreans know too what it is like to fight for liberation against the bull of imperialism. For 35 years, we resisted Japanese colonization, yet when our day of liberation finally came, the U.S. swiftly entered to overtake Japan as the decider of our country's fate, irrevocably splitting our nation into two. In 1948, the same year as the first Nakba, the U.S. denied the Korean people the right to govern ourselves and subsequently murdered up to 60,000 people who dared to protest in Jeju Island. A series of military dictatorships backed by the U.S. followed this event and cultivated South Korea into the neo-colonial outpost that it is today. And it is no coincidence that the occupation of Palestine and the division of Korea occurred in the same year. Just as Israel serves as a lackey for imperial interests in the Middle East, the U.S. has ingrained its will so deeply into South Korea that its government directly participates in the current genocide by exporting weapons to the U.S., who then sells them to Israel. Monopoly capitalists like Hyundai are happy to cut out the middleman and supply the IOF directly with weapons and machinery. Meanwhile, the current South Korean president, Yoon Suk-yeol, has not only refused to vote for a ceasefire, but is considered a great friend of Israel by Netanyahu himself. It's no wonder that tens of thousands of South Koreans are calling for Yoon's resignation this weekend. Yoon's complicity in genocide and escalating war exercises in Korea are not an act of leadership. Real leaders protect their people, not endorse their destruction. President Yoon's subservience to the West is a disgrace to our ancestors who fought and died for Korean liberation. Shame! Having felt the retribution of empire on our own homeland, we Koreans recognize that the imperialist agenda that keeps our people divided is the same imperialist agenda that craves the destruction and occupation of Palestine. And so, we stand firmly by our Palestinian siblings in opposition to our common enemy. We know we are stronger together as the liberation struggles of our people are inseparable. And we will continue to fight until both Palestine and Korea are free. Power to every Palestinian fighting for their sovereignty, and glory to all the martyrs. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From Bektusan to Halasan, Korea will be one. Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Thank you.
Again, if you just joined us, we are live in the traditional Lenape lands, also known as New York City at Bryant Park. Today we are live streaming the Arrest Netanyahu at the United Nations protests organized by the Palestinian Youth Movement, People's Forum, and the Answer Coalition. Thanks for being here. We'll be listening to speakers and then I think afterwards marching. Let's we'll see what happens.
Over the last year of this Israeli-American genocide, the Western media has been a complete and total accomplice. CNN, Fox News, and the New York Times all have blood on their hands. But we as a movement, we have cut through that. We have sharpened our ability to read through that. And we know the truth. We know the truth through the assistance of people's journalists and people who provide the real news. Next up, it is my honor to call Rania Khalid from the Breakthrough News, the True People's News.
Thank you. I don't have an amazing fiery speech plan like everybody else because I was just told I would speak, but I want to speak a little bit from the heart. I live in Beirut, Lebanon, and I happen to be here right now because of the UN General Assembly. And for the last year, as Palestinians have been facing genocide armed by the U.S., carried out by Israel, Israeli leaders have every single day threatened to bring about apocalypse on Lebanon. They've threatened to burn Beirut and turn it into Gaza. And over the last week, we've watched them carry out one terrorist attack after another against the people of Lebanon. And earlier this week we saw them, sorry, can you hear me? Earlier this week we watched the Israelis indiscriminately carpet bomb Lebanon and kill and murder over 500 people in the course of 24 hours, and it has not relented. Every single day of this week, I wake up in the middle of the night to look at the news to see how many people they've slaughtered in my country. And you know what else I think about? I think about the fact that for the last year, Palestinians have had to endure this. All of our hearts are breaking for Palestine. But there is something viscerally extra horrible about watching your home, your own home, be destroyed. Enough of this destruction. Enough of the media lying about this destruction. Every day Israel terrorizes our people, They say Israel's acting in self-defense. Genocide is self-defense. And that we're the terrorists because our resistance is hitting their military stations. We're the terrorists. That's what they say. Netanyahu is a terrorist. Biden is a terrorist. And Vice President Kamala Harris, who has been silent since Lebanon has been bombed and has backed Israel 100%, is a terrorist. They want us to submit or die. That's what their ceasefire proposals say. But our people will not submit, and they will refuse to die. They will always fight back. And they are fighting under the most dire of circumstances. In Gaza, they are fighting under the most dire of circumstances, from tunnels. In Lebanon, they are fighting under dire circumstances where they are turning South Lebanon into another Gaza. And we in the Imperial Corps, we say no. We say enough. We say arrest the war criminals, arrest Netanyahu, arrest Biden. No more weapons for Israel. Enough. And before I wrap here, I just want to say, I am so lucky to, in the midst of watching this genocide expand to my country, to be surrounded by wonderful comrades who are coming out all the time, whenever they can, to tell everybody that Americans do not support this genocide, and they don't support arming Israel. So free Palestine! Free Palestine! And hands off Lebanon enough! Thank you. We want justice! You say how? Hands off Palestine now! Stop bombing Gaza now! Hands off Lebanon now! Stop bombing Lebanon now! Hands off Lebanon now! Stop bombing Lebanon now! Hello, comrades! Thank you for joining us! We're out here after 10 months of organizing because the heads of state from around the world have gathered in New York. And we, the people, are here mobilizing as we do every day because we know the leaders of this country have ignored our calls for the last 10 months. The U.S. ruling class has shown their true selves to us. Instead of persecuting a war criminal, they choose to oppress us and attack us and censor us. So I would like to welcome somebody who has been a long-time fighter for the people of this country and for the people around the world. Please welcome Dr. Jill Stein. We want justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how? Hands off Gaza now! Hands off Gaza now! We want justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how? Hands off the West Bank now! Hands off the West Bank now! We want justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how? Stop starving Gaza now! Stop starving Gaza now! We want justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how? Free Palestine now! Free Palestine now! Thank you all so much.
I don't know if I fucked it up.
You are all the heroes. We are the heroes. We say to Netanyahu, off you go to The Hague now, as soon as we can make it happen. We say to the Biden-Harris administration, Off you go to The Hague now. This murderous war criminal, this genocider, should not be setting foot here in our country or any country. Shame. His list of crimes is too long to list. Not only the slaughter of 200,000 innocent people, but the torture of 2 million people living in terror every day for the last nearly year. We say enough. He repeatedly bombed Gaza with 70,000 tons of bombs in the first 6 months alone. 4 times the firepower that destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We say shame. He has imposed a total embargo of food, water, medicine, energy, destroyed nearly all homes, hospitals, healthcare centers, schools, universities, power plants, and sanitation. He has killed the press, some 140 journalists, most recently shutting down the Al Jazeera office in the West Bank so that the world could not see his crimes. It is evidence of his guilt that he is shutting down the eyes of the world. But the eyes of the world are watching, and the hearts of the world are with us. And together we are absolutely unstoppable. Remember, 68% of Americans was saying, enough of this genocide, shut the genocide down, way back in November. And more recently, 61% of Americans are calling for a weapons embargo now. What is wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture is our elected officials and both political parties are taking their marching orders from Netanyahu, from AIPAC, and from the war machine. Shame! I want to remind you what Frederick Douglass said, that power concedes nothing without a demand. We must be that demand in every walk of life. That means in the streets. That means in our boycotts, in what we buy and what we don't buy. We must make that demand. And remember what Alice Walker said, that the biggest way people give up power is by not knowing we have it to start with. We have it. Don't let them talk you out of it. And we must use our power also of our votes. Whatever you do, there are good choices who will shut down the genocide, and the power of our vote says that we will stop this genocide. It is so important. There's a big pressure campaign, the Trump derangement syndrome, that is telling you to vote for the other genociders. I heard some discussion about that on my way over here today, and I couldn't believe it, that even in this crowd that is leading the charge, some people are drinking the Kool-Aid. We must remind each other, we have 2 fascist options on the ballot. One is named Donald Trump, the other is named Kamala Harris. Neither one is okay. If you vote for genocide, you are endorsing genocide. We have the power to shut down genocide. Every vote against genocide is a shot across the bow of the empire to tell them we are here, we are getting organized, we are not going away. Shut down the genocide, shut down the occupation, shut down the apartheid state and the ethnic cleansing. We are unstoppable together, and we have only just started. Thank you all so much. From Palestine to Mexico! All distract us. They have tried to put lies in front of our eyes in the media, but we will not stand for that. And we will not stand for that, because after 10 months of organizing, we are clear in our purpose. And we are determined in our conviction to stand for anti-imperialism from Palestine to the Philippines and from Palestine to Mexico. So I would like to welcome up someone who has taught me a lot about what it means to stand for your convictions. Please welcome from the Party for Socialism and Liberation, Gloria de la Cruz. When Palestine is under attack, what do we do? When Palestine is under attack, what do we do? When Lebanon is under attack, what do we do? I said, what do we do? What do we do? Comrades, friends, it's been almost a year. We declared it almost a year ago that this would be the era of resistance. That this would be the era of organized struggle. That this would be the era of the people. And it is. And it will be. Netanyahu, Netanyahu. Because that is what he is. He is Satan. We must not be mistaken. The only reason he's expanding this war across the Middle East is because he's scared. He is scared. This is an expansion of war for self-preservation. And you know what has made him scared? The same force that has scared Biden, that has scared Harris, that is having the U.S. a tremble. And that is the power of the people. We cannot forget that. We cannot forget that. We have been able to make connections. This week has been a heavy week. It has been heavy. There have been the murders, the lynching, the state-sponsored lynching of 2 black men in this country. And people are making connections because the same forces that are killing our people, the same forces that are jailing our black and brown and poor white people, are the same ones that are bombarding Lebanon, that are bombarding camps in the Middle East. And they might expand war, but we will expand resistance from the Bronx to fucking Lebanon. We will fight back because the Palestinian people, the people in Lebanon, the people in Iran are our siblings. They are our people. They want to wage war against China. Guess what? The Chinese don't have me in debt. The Chinese are the ones that are killing our kids in the streets. It is not the Russians that are waging war and have 41% of the children in the South Bronx dying from poverty. That is U.S. imperialism. And if there's something that we must learn from this here struggle, as people who are fortifying our strength and understanding who our enemies are, and there's one thing we must learn, is that we can't just simply be anti-genocide. We need to be anti-imperialist. We cannot simply stand against capitalism. The proposal is socialism, and we must fight to build it here. Comrades, there's a lot we will hear in the news. There's a lot that we will hear that will make our guts wrench. But you best believe
that our only hope lies in the organization of our people and the fight back. The capitalist system won't give us a win. They won't give us an inch, but we must not give them an inch either. We must not continue to legitimize their oppression. Not every 4 years, not every 2 years, not every fucking day. And I have this to share with you. Listen to this very carefully. Solidarity and resistance outlived Eric Adams. Solidarity and resistance will outlive Biden. It will outlive Harris. It will outlive Trump. Because the people are committed to build the society that we so urgently need to allow the rest of the world to breathe. Are we committed? Are we committed? Are we committed? Free, free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine!
Again, we are live in the traditional Lenape lands, also known as New York City, at Bryant Park. Today we are live streaming the arrest Netanyahu at the United Nations protest organized by the Palestinian Youth Movement, People's Forum, and the Answer Coalition. Thanks for joining us. We're just here showing you what's going on in the streets of New York City as Coyote Week unfolds. And again, we are, I think, going to march eventually. Right now we're listening to speakers. Again, thanks for joining us.
That will defeat the colonial state of Israel and the U.S. empire. Thank you.
Free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Settlers, settlers, go back home! Settlers, settlers, go back home! Palestine is ours alone! Palestine is ours alone! Settlers, settlers, go back home! Settlers, settlers, go back home! Palestine is our home! Palestine is our home! Comrades, today Netanyahu is in our city, the architect of this genocidal war. But we know this didn't start with Netanyahu. We know this has been going on since 1948 and beyond. And we know that the Palestinian people, our people in Gaza, in the West Bank, our Palestinian people in Lebanon and the broader region will outlive this genocide. Their resistance will continue until complete freedom and liberation. And as long as that continues, we will be in the streets, we will be organizing, and we will build organizations for the long term. I'm going to call up somebody, an organization that knows about building for the long term, that knows about staying in the fight. Please welcome Bill from Pal Alba.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Hands off Lebanon!
Hands off Lebanon!
Hands off Lebanon!
Hands off Lebanon!
The world has never known a more evil creature than the monster who landed in the city last night and will be speaking at the United Nations tomorrow. I need not say his name, but it is not only him, but everyone in his regime who seek the extermination of the entire people of Palestine and of Lebanon too, to guarantee the future of that crooked real estate scheme they call Israel. The world has never seen greater evil than his army is perpetrating today on the children, women, and men of Gaza, of the West Bank, across Palestine, and in Lebanon. But if there is anyone who is greater evil, it is those who pay the bills, because he would be nothing, his army would be nothing, without the endless flow of weapons of mass destruction from the United States, paid for by our tax dollars. In 2022, the racist state called Israel, the Zionist criminal enterprise in Palestine, got about $5 billion in direct military aid from the United States. Since the genocide began last October, or intensified, they have been given, in my estimate, over $40 billion of bombs, white phosphorus, chemical weapons, dense inert metal explosives, even free gasoline for fuel for jets being shipped by the Valero Corporation to fuel the F-16s and F-35s at our expense. And Biden and Harris claim they want a ceasefire. Just today, Washington allocated another $8.7 billion of free arms to the Zionist murder machine in Palestine. This is when people are being shot in the subways of New York by NYPD over a goddamn $2.85 fare. Where teachers, where schools have no money, hospitals have no money, we have no medical care, people are sleeping on the streets. Before they murdered him, Dr. Martin Luther King said, the bombs that explode in Vietnam also explode in our communities here. That is true today as well. The bombs that explode in Gaza and in Lebanon also explode in our communities here. And we have the most important job in the world. Let me say first, I said there is no greater evil than these monsters and those who pay them. There are no greater heroes on earth. The world has never seen greater heroes than the people of Palestine, of Gaza, of the West Bank, of Lebanon, who are standing up to this brutal war machine. They are not terrorists. They are freedom fighters. And we too must be freedom fighters. We too must be heroes, because our job is the most important in the world, to stop the flow of arms and money to the Zionist murder machine. And when we do that, we will be striking a blow not only for the people of Lebanon and Palestine, but for all of humanity, and for including ourselves. Not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for Israel's crimes. Not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for Israel's crimes. Long live the resistance.
We will be victorious. Resistance is glorious.
Resistance is glorious.
We will be victorious.
We will be victorious.
Resistance is glorious.
Resistance is glorious.
From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
And from the sea to the river.
From the sea to the river.
Palestine will live forever.
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 As we approach 1 year of genocide and resistance, we remind ourselves that complete freedom from the river to the sea is a necessity. Not in the sense of something we want, not in the sense of something we hope to see, but it's something that will definitely and most certainly happen. It is a historical fact. And to address that further, I'm going to call Rabbi Weiss. With the help of the Almighty, I pray to the Almighty to bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may convey His message name, amen. Assalamu alaikum. The time does not permit to delve into the 76 years or more of Nakba, of occupation. But we just want to at least open the window, shed a little light, and let you know that this occupation has nothing to do with a difference of religion. It has to do with Judaism is a religion of 3,000 years. Zionism is a movement of 140-odd years. It is a total transformation to selfish, nationalist occupation, unacceptable. The Zionists masquerade in Judaism in order to intimidate. It is their nuclear attack weapon. But when anybody who has any humanity, any godliness in them, and stands up and says, how dare you kill humanity, human people, innocent people, they stand up and say you are an anti-Semite. They are the anti-Semites. I want to just show, I'm carrying a picture when the Zionists bombed Lebanon. Last time, it was Yasser Arafat who sent his Palestinian soldiers to protect the synagogues in Beirut. We don't have a religious conflict. We are trying to stand up for people who are innocent, because the Torah tells us not only what people call humanity, it is godliness to stand up and not permit people to kill and occupy and destroy godly creation. We are pleading with the world leaders here in the United Nations. Do not betray the lofty position God gave you. I just came from Dearborn, Michigan, last night on a plane where we were together with Lebanese Americans and crying for the people of Beirut. They came over to me. One said, my parents are from Albania. One said, we're from Georgia. We protected the Jews. This was a matter of 80 years ago. Who is going to say that they stood up for the people of Palestine and Beirut? We must not be silent. I have to end. Time does not permit us. But remember, Judaism is to serve God. Zionism is a rebellion against God. And when they use the word anti-Semitism, you should just know they are using a criminal terminology. They are making null the value of the word anti-Semitism. Because when somebody will commit a crime against Jews, people will laugh. They'll say, that's anti-Semitism. We just see what anti-Semitism, Zionists are killing and killing. They're making, nullifying the word of anti-Semitism. And they are killing Palestinians, Lebanese, and Jews are dying because of them, not because of religion. We lived together for hundreds of years. The Muslims protected the Jews for hundreds of years. What has changed? Occupation. They are the cause of the death. They are the cause of all the bloodshed of Muslims, of Christians, of Jews. Let us remember. So therefore, do not be silent. Do not be intimidated. Stand up the whole time till ultimately God, with his compassion, will bring a total removal, God help speedily and peacefully, of the occupation. Assalamu alaikum. Judaism, yes. Judaism, yes. Zionism, no. The state of Israel must go. Judaism, yes. Zionism, no. The state of Israel must go.
We are live in the traditional Lenape lands, also known as New York City, at Bryant Park. We are live streaming the arrest Netanyahu at the United Nations protest organized by the Palestinian Youth Movement, People's Forum, and the Answer Coalition. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be live for a little bit. Just let us know where you're watching from.
We charge you with genocide!
We charge you with genocide!
Who's ready to march? Our last speaker before we march is somebody who knows about standing between the imperialist monster and the liberation of our people. Someone who has taught me a great time.
here today because there are war criminals parading in New York City. But it's not just Netanyahu. The biggest war criminal in New York today is Joe Biden. Every bomb that falls on Lebanon is a U.S. bomb. Every bomb that falls in Gaza is a U.S. bomb. If you are a U.S. politician and you don't say no to weapons to Israel, then you are pro-genocide. We are here because right now they are telling us to stay quiet. They are telling us to just shut up and vote. But we want more than that. We are here for more than just a ceasefire. We want liberation. We want an end to occupation. And for the occupation to go, Israel has to go. Israel and the United States are the greatest threat to peace in the planet. Are we going to march together? Yes! Are we ready to fight together? Yes! We come from many countries that are being occupied. From Gaza to the Philippines. From Haiti to the Congo. We know the cost and the pain of U.S. imperialism. From Gaza to Korea, we know the struggle is won. Blockades, sanctions, occupations are all crimes against humanity. Are we ready to march? Yeah! Are we ready to march? Yeah! Are we ready to march? Yeah! We are going to march to the United Nations. Woo! New York City and the NYPD have put up barricades and blockades to stop us from getting to the UN. We don't give a shit. We don't give a shit about that barricades. We're going to march to the UN, whether they like it or not. But the power of this march is not because we believe in Palestine. The power of this march is because we are all coming together for a cause greater than all of us. When we chant, there's only one solution. Revolution! There's only one solution. Revolution! There's only one solution. Revolution! We mean it. Because we know there is no way of changing our society without revolution. And there is no revolution without the people united. It is the masses of people together who are going to defeat the genocide. So we ask you now to start getting ready to march. We're going to start forming on the sidewalk here to take 42nd Street. Okay? Are you with me? Are you with me? Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Let's start forming the Southern March! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free
Again, we are live on the traditional Lenape lands, also known as New York City at Bryant Park. Today we're live streaming the arrest of Netanyahu at the United Nations protest organized by the Palestinian Youth Movement, People's Forum, and the Answer Coalition. Israel, led by their Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has continued to escalate their intentional and direct attacks on the civilian population, particularly affecting women and children in Gaza and the West Bank. According to Gaza's Ministry of Health, over 40,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli bombardments, with almost half of them being children and 710 of them being under the age of 1. Although most of the world has seen the most documented genocide in history, Israel has not stopped their killing, and the United States has not stopped supplying it. Within the past 9 days, Israel detonated cell phones and walkie-talkies in Lebanon in tandem with missile strikes. These attacks killed 588 Lebanese civilians, which Lebanon declared on September 23rd as the deadliest day in its history. The United States has given Israel approximately $47.3 billion in aid. As the UN Forum features leaders from across the world's desire for peace, we ask, what does that mean? Israel's ambassador described Israel as a peaceful nation the day after killing 588 Lebanese civilians in the deadliest day in the country's history. It being founded on ethnic cleansing and genocide of the Palestinians since 1948. World leaders at the UN continue to vent their frustration at the inability to barter a ceasefire as Israel continues its genocide against the Palestinian people and raids Al Jazeera press offices in the West Bank. Even as we are live, Israel is moving military assets into the West Bank and the Lebanese border, signaling an all-out invasion. We thank you for joining us here today on this live. As indigenous people of this continent, we also say no genociders on stolen land. Liberation for our people, our Palestinian relatives, and other than human relations. We want a livable future for the children, Landback, and freedom for all political prisoners like Leonard Peltier. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be moving here, trying to see if we can get in position for this march. We're going to go on this march. Again, this event was put on and organized by the Palestinian Youth Movement, People's Forum, and the Answer Coalition. I'm the Director of Tactical Media here at the NDN Collective. My pronouns are they, them. My name is Lorenzo Serna. I'm Chicane. I'm really glad to bring you here to the streets of New York City to show you what's going on. Again, we report to our platform to let you know what's happening when we are out in the streets. And this is what it's looking like today. We were live the other day for a pro-Lebanon protest that was organized after the bombings in Lebanon. So again, we're going to follow along. I don't know what's going to happen. It looks like we're going to the UN. We'll see. Let's see how that goes. We're going to be on this march for probably like an hour. Yeah, about an hour. Then we're probably going to dip. So I don't know. Keep following. Hit follow, like, subscribe, share. Leave a little bit of a comment. Let us know where you're watching from if you'd like. Let's see where. We'll just stay here for a second. I'm going to see if there's any questions in the chat. If you're enjoying this coverage, you can look in the descriptions here. I know we're live on YouTube and I think on the Facebook. Their names continue to change. If you read the descriptions, you can follow us. You can get SMS messages when we're in the streets. Also updates from our local organizing going on at all different levels across the world, across this nation, so-called, and also just locally in Rapid City where a lot of our work is also going on. Again, we're just here to show you what's going on in the streets of New York City. You can see this. I have no idea how big this march is. We're about to find out. We're at the front here, so now you can see all these people who are getting into the street. How's it going?
We found you.
Yeah, you all want to talk about being here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, what? If you want to introduce yourself, just let folks know why you're here.
Sure. My name's Ine. I'm with Native Movement. We stand with Palestinian people. We stand against genocide. If you believe in indigenous people's rights, if you believe in Landback, this is where we need to be. We have thousands of people out here today protesting the fact that billions of dollars is going to kill indigenous people, and that's money that we've all been putting into from our tax dollars. We have tribes that don't have running water or don't have power, but we're sending all of those dollars across the country to kill indigenous people. It feels like this is the least we can do is come out to support and march with our fellow humans.
Right on. Now let's go march.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to join the march here. We're going to probably be along the side. You can see looks like the NYPD is giving everybody about a one-lane situation here. There's probably you can kind of see there's some officers on the right-hand side, or at least my right facing. I think I'm facing west. And so you can see vehicles moving by from the NYPD. There's a lot of officers around. And we're just going to walk along here, see if we can kind of get close to the front. It's going to be a bit of a squeeze, so definitely just bear with us. And I'll probably be reading to you while we're here a few times. And again, you can hit that subscribe button. You can see there's updates. You get update on your cell phone. We all kind of, live on cell phones a bit. And I'll get you that number you can text to get those updates here in a second. And then also you can subscribe to our newsletters, stuff like that. Again, definitely subscribe to newsletters. I know email seems like this antiquated thing. We are using all these social media platforms that we don't own. If you do give us your email address, we'll have a way of getting hold of you if these social media companies decide that they no longer want you to see these things. And so it's great. So definitely give us that email address. I know how it feels to sign up to a list, but I'm definitely asking you to do it. So we're going to keep moving here. Again, we'll be on this march for maybe an hour, I'm thinking. I'm not sure how long it'll take to get to the UN. I think we're about a mile away, but with a lot of people marching, I assume a lot of roads are going to be stopped. Movement will be stopped by... I'll keep pace with you. By the NYPD as they're trying to control traffic, and also people actually Jill Stein, big party candidate. My stance on voting, though, has been voting is the least you can do. Organize your communities, so definitely make your decisions how you feel, but keep organizing. Don't take that one day of action of filling out some circles as being all the things you need to be doing. So I really appreciate everybody. Just keep moving how you're moving. Again, this is a Free Palestine March. We're going to the UN. We're heading right down this road. I think we're heading towards the river. The UN's there. We drove by it earlier, just surrounded by barricades. So I don't know how close we'll get, but we're going to find out together. Again, also traffic has been super snarled here in New York City because there's been multiple protests that are continuing, not only against Netanyahu's visit, but also it's Climate Week. People have been protesting against climate financiers, different banks, trying to shut down, bring attention that as the climate crisis accelerates, and is here right now, as we're speaking, there's a category, I'm not sure where it's at now, it's estimated to get to category 4, and the sort of the size of it, the widest sort of hurricane in the last century is striking right now as this march is going on, as Climate Week is happening. Again, war is a climate issue. The U.S. military is one of the biggest polluters in the world. And also, I always love saying the U.S. military has identified climate change as being like a real thing. They did it, I think, in like 2002 or something. They're like, hey, we really got to do something because our bases are going to have problems. Like, climate change is real, hey. You know, so like that already happened somehow. It just kind of passes by. And that's part of the reason we kind of do this work, is just to keep bringing attention to these things and showing that people are out in the streets. People are engaging in resistance in many different ways. Right now we're on this march. We're heading to the United Nations, and we're going to see what happens. You know, again, we're just here. I don't know. I like to be places. You know what I'm saying? I like to see things for myself. Definitely bringing this live feed to you so you can also see it for yourself and see what actually happens. A lot of the media that you see on the internet are just snippets of extravagance, usually a condensed sort of version of what really went on, you know. And a lot of that is just really trying to get attention and hits, and I don't want to go into it, but it's a lot. It's good to be here. We are in this, we got the whole street now. Got the whole thing. I think we're kind of towards the back of the march. But we're just gonna roll with it. We'll get closer to the front here as we continue. No hurry. Again, we are just marching, making it clear that people are bringing attention to the ongoing genocide in Palestine. Are bringing attention to the United States' continual funding of the genocide in Palestine. You know, as they vie for a ceasefire, they're also supplying the weapons that are being used against the population, the civilian populations, and also this invasion of the Al Jazeera press offices in the West Bank. Al Jazeera losing journalists to Israeli fire and making clear what's going on there this whole time. It's also under attack, and it's also what's going on here in the United States as journalists have been continually under attack for showing what's happening in the streets. And so the contradictions of what you're hearing, I guess, the higher halls of power to what's actually being talked about here in the street.
Intifada, intifada! Intifada, intifada! Mobilize the intifada! Mobilize the intifada! Intifada, intifada! Intifada, intifada! Mobilize the intifada! Mobilize the intifada! Say it loud and say it clear!
Again, you're going to hear me repeat myself quite a bit. Again, this is a live. People are going to be coming in and out, so I want to make sure that you get updated on where we're at, what's going on. Right now, we are live in the traditional Lenape lands, also known as New York City. We started at Bryant Park on the steps of the New York Public Library. We're live at this Arrest Netanyahu at the United Nations protest that's been organized with the Palestinian Youth Movement, the People's Forum, and the Answer Coalition. Israel, led by their Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, that we're hearing is here in New York City, or may not be here. I don't know. We're trying to put it together. He has continued to escalate their intentional and direct attacks on the civilian population, and particularly affecting women and children. When I read that, intentional and direct attacks on the civilian population, and particularly affecting women and children, that is actually a report from the United Nations I'm quoting from there, in Gaza and the West Bank. So we're rocking the United Nations. This is what they're saying. According to Gaza's Ministry of Health, over 40,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israelis' bombardments, with almost half of them being children, and 710 of them being under the age of 1. Although most of the world has seen the most documented genocide in history, Israel has not stopped their killing, and the United States has not stopped supplying it. Within the past 9 days, Israel detonated cell phones and walkie-talkies in Lebanon in tandem with missile strikes. These attacks killed 588 Lebanese civilians, which Lebanon declared on September 23rd as the deadliest day in its history. The United States has given Israel approximately $47.3 billion in aid since this has escalated. As the UN Forum, I think that number changed overnight. I think that number is actually more now based on what we're hearing at the speeches. Like they just gave more money. As the UN Forum features leaders from across the world's desire for peace, we ask, what does that mean? And when I say, if you listen to the UN Forum, it's happening right now. A lot of the speakers are like, we need peace. Even Biden was like, we need peace. You know, like ceasefire now. They're still funding it. At least the United States is, and other countries are like, hey, we need this peace now. So as the world's desire for peace, we ask, what does that mean? Israel's ambassador described Israel as a peaceful nation, literally the day after killing 588 Lebanese civilians, and the deadliest day in the country's history. Israel being founded on the ethnic cleansing and genocide of Palestinians since 1948. World leaders of the UN continue to vent their frustrations at the inability to barter a ceasefire as Israel continues its genocide against the Palestinian people and raids Al Jazeera press offices in the West Bank. And again, that's just from listening to the UN speeches. If you took the, I know time is a difficult thing here in this world we're living in, but that was what was being echoed in the hall. Was their frustration that they just seemed to not be able to do anything to slow this down. And even right now, as we're live, Israel is moving more military assets into the West Bank and Lebanese border, signaling an all-out invasion. We are thankful for you joining us here today on this live, and as indigenous people of this continent, we also say no genociders on stolen land, liberation for our people, our Palestinian relatives, and other than human relations. We want a livable future for the children, for our children, all children, land back, and freedom for all political prisoners like Leonard Peltier. Thank you. All right, where are we here? Oh, that's the Empire State Building. Okay, yeah, we're walking past the Empire State Building right now. Are we just here? What the? All right, anyways. Are we just here? All right. Again, like, it is Climate Week. I'm just going to keep mentioning this as it's, again, an unprecedented. Hey, this guy. I like your rig. Yeah. I know what you do. This looks good. Yeah. Where the camera on his face. So you can see a Jewish ferret against genocide, stop bombing babies signs. We have some puppets in the field. Definitely is in the middle of the street right now. Traffic's been stalled, moved to the side. There's definitely some pro-Israel folks on the side here yelling into the crowd. As people with signs walk by them and all U.S. aid to Israel. There's one person surrounded by other people. And again, New York's always funny. I mean, I don't know how many people are here. Okay, it's a lot of people. It has to be more than 1,000, more than, I don't know, thousands. Who knows? I can't see the end of it anymore. Kind of happens here once the march hits the street, people start joining. The rally's kind of like you can hear in the front where we were, but at the back, you could hear chants going on. You could hear other things happening in the background, as people probably couldn't hear as much. Oh, yeah. So we're heading down the road. You can see way off in the distance a line of police officers. I assume that must be where the UN's at. So we'll see if we can get to the front and see what it's like when these two little groups meet here. Gonna move slow here. Let's slowly move our way to the front. It's a take a second. Oh no, pretty good. All right, never mind. We're just gonna stay where we're at. Yeah, I can see like a block and a half in the distance. There's just looks like barricades, a truck across the front, and a line of police officers at those metal barricades in the front. So like metal barricades, police officers, and what looks like it's not a dump truck, but it's a giant truck. You hear the "We will not stop, we will not rest, disclose, divest." Chanto is popularized by the student encampment movement, trying to get universities to disclose their endowments, what they invested in, to ensure that the students' tuitions weren't going to fund genocide and weapon developers, things like that. And so, again, the student movement, very vibrant, and also has taken a lot of hits. As you're watching this year unfold, a lot of universities are putting in different policies to criminalize anybody who is protesting for Palestine. Basically, if they're for Palestine, there's new policies to ensure that they can dismantle those protests. And, like, sadly, very common. You know, they're going to iterate policies, they're going to make new laws, they're going to try to quell any unrest to ensure the capitalism just kind of keeps going, you know? Usually the goal of the state. Again, I'm Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media here at the NDN Collective. Out here with parts of our Tactical Media team. Other parts of our Tactical Media team are watching from afar, probably answering your questions. Looks like we're going to turn left. So, okay, yeah, so we're going to see a half barricade here. We'll get to the right of the march. And so the march is turning away from what looked like a pretty serious gauntlet of doom. So, yeah, this is actually the first line of police. And then I don't know if we can sit for a moment and zoom in, and then you can kind of see off in the distance there's a whole other line with trucks set up. Let's wait a second here. Where are we? This is East 42nd Street and 3rd Avenue. Anybody who's watching on the internet, you can just bring up maps, see where we're at in New York City. 3rd Avenue, East 42nd Street. People sometimes get mad. You're like, hey, why are you telling people where you're at? And it's like, well, the police are very aware where the march is at. They're literally right there. So, you know, take a breath. Just letting people know what's happening. Oh, hold on. And so the police officers just freely moving through the march. No one's impeding them. No one's interacting with them. Just to give you a feel of what it's like right now. Police just kind of watching from the distance. They are wearing helmets, but no sort of like body armor. Except for, I mean, they are wearing what looks like pistol vests, but they're not wearing like what you would consider like classic riot gear. Usually not in New York City. They will bring them out later if they feel like it, but they're usually kept back. And they try to always have like a softer stance. Very common sort of in policing. So you kind of have a softer stance at first and sort of accelerate that stance as they feel they need to garner more control. Again, if you're watching and you want to get text updates, you can text Landback to 50302 to receive SMS updates on our campaign. So not just this. This is definitely something we're updating you about that we're out here in the streets, but also all the other things that NDN is doing. Again, we are a pretty massive organization doing work at all different levels of creating change. My team works a lot at the grassroots level with the people here on the streets. We did this meet with people in there's like fancy halls. I don't know. I can't even explain it. Just everywhere. It's kind of inspiring. It is inspiring, and I am a part of it. I'm Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media here. You can also sign up for updates from our Organizing and Policy newsletter. And again, it always just seems silly asking for email address in this current age, but again, I really encourage it. If anything happens to these platforms, we always have a way to reach you through email, having your email address. So do the dive, sign up, and we're going to keep you in the streets here for a bit as we head towards the United Nations. I was seeing the battery. All right. We're going to keep rolling here. Kind of falling behind. I think we're towards the end of the march now. So on the right here, we're going to have police officers just looking on. Again, there's police officers moving freely through the march. No one impeding them. Nobody really interacting with them. You got a lot of zip ties out here, and a lot of them are, they all have their sidearms, tasers, And usually they have a little bit of canisters of, it's like OC spray, pepper spray. Kind of see them use it a lot. I've been in New York a few times for different actions. All right, let's try to move up here a little faster. We're trying to bring you back to the front of the march. And you can see all these side streets are blockaded, but I'm pretty sure if you hit these side streets, you're heading towards the UN, and they're not interested in letting this march disrupt those conversations. Mostly of, all these leaders are there of different countries. And again, if you have been listening to the UN speeches, very much calling out the ongoing use of weapons against civilian populations in Gaza, the attacks in Lebanon. There's been different people talking about those pager and walkie-talkie attacks as being an actual, like a terrorist act that instills fear. I think I mentioned yesterday how there's like some news articles that called them targeted, but the targeted was in quotes because they couldn't actually, the press organization couldn't say targeted because it's what they targeted, the pager, but then where is the pager at? Where was the walkie-talkie at? Civilians definitely were killed in those attacks, including children, many maimed. It's really brutal. This is an eyesight, losing limbs. And then it was just followed by more attacks. So we're going to keep moving here. Again, we're here at this protest organized by the Answer Coalition, the Palestinian Youth Movement, and the People's Forum. Yeah. Let's move to the left. And then let's try to see if we can move up to the front, because I think most of the people are going to be over here. All right. Let's you want to try to do a battery change? All right, everybody, we'll be right back. We're going to change batteries, make sure we can keep this live for whatever is about to happen next. We'll be back in about a minute, I would guess. Just bear with us. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. We're going to try to get to... you can see we're actually behind the march now. You can see all these police officers. I'm sorry about that. Got a vehicle here trying to get through. Bikers trying to get through. And so we have all these police officers stationed behind the march right now, sort of watching. They have some scooters, different... Sorry, that's talking right now. And the march is it's heading towards down this side street, which I assume is towards the UN.
We want free press. We recognize Palestinian as a state at the UN. Shalom, shalom, assalamu alaikum, shalom.
Thank you. There's somebody speaking next to me. It's got a little bit of a... And so this road here, I would like in the world of marching, not a great road. Super thin. There's not a lot of side streets. It's thin for a long period of time. The police are already set up behind it to be able to cordon off. You can see they're marching down behind. Let's go ahead and follow me over here. I'm going to move over here. Yeah, they have barricades here set up already. But if they want to, they can just close this off, and they have a line of police behind it. Again, not a big fan of these side streets. East and west, usually in the island of Manhattan, they're not super comfortable. And you can see how congested the road is with people. All right, thanks, everybody. Again, if you're just joining, I'm going to go ahead and read this to you. I don't know, we're just going to keep marching here. So we're on like, I don't know, left-hand side of the march. It's really spread out, really thin. Again, this road is very, very thin. There's not a lot of exits. And so, not super comfortable ever when I'm on these roads, to be honest. I've been on them a few times. All right. So I'm not exactly sure where we're going, but we're going there together. We are in New York City, traditional Lenape territory. We started at Bryant Park. This protest is a Arrest Netanyahu protest at heading to the UN. It was organized by the Palestinian Youth Movement, the Answer Coalition, and the People's Forum. And again, I'm Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media here at the NDN Collective. Just wanted to bring you to the streets, let you see what's going on. Again, a wide variety of speakers. It's live. People are going to say what they say. It's just going to happen. So here we are experiencing it together. Again, thankful always to be able to do this and just bring you here to the streets. Definitely not just me. We have a good team here working, people on the street, and then also people at home remotely doing the work. If you are somebody out there who's doing media work, definitely create good infrastructure with different people doing different sorts of work at different places in the street and at home. And rotate, get rest. Hey, I say that. I believe it. It's always tried. So we're just kind of walking alongside the march, trying to get a little bit to the front. Just bear with us here as we get closer to it. You can see there's more and more people. And march is usually kind of spread out. That's kind of what we're experiencing, is like it's spread out a little bit. You can see these little barricades here. NYPD officers. There's one white shirt looking at a paper that probably has the different maps of where the units are at, and also their rules of engagement, like how they will engage this, or when this, like what their rules are to be able to do whatever they're going to do for themselves. And there's a lot of zip ties. Every one of these officers has tons of zip ties on them.
Guys, we're going to open up the plaza there. You can go in as well. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah, so you can see the NYPD is planning to open up the plaza for the march people to go there. I assume it's probably going to rally for a bit. And we're going to stick for a while. I would say if you're in a march and it stops, it's really important to take a look around and see what's happening. Usually not the best case scenario when a march is stopped. It means that there's some sort of thing happening probably at the front. it's a good thing to just look around, see which way you want to go if something goes down. But we're going to keep going here again. Just reporting to you all. Thanks a lot, relatives, for being here. Always thankful to be able to speak to you. Well, don't worry, we'll be back in the hood soon. That's just the first casualty of war is the truth. The rest are civilian casualties. Let me slide by you. All right, let's try to sneak our way closer if we can. Again, people are condensed more to the front. It becomes harder and harder to maneuver. Yeah, there's a lot of people in front of us. I don't know how we get through that. One second, wait. People dancing, singing, chanting. We're turning around, so we're now at the front, I guess. With the organization called the Indian Collective. We're an all-indigenous organization. I'm basically part of their on-the-street team, telling people what's going on.
Is the cable?
It's internet-based.
In America?
Yeah, well, it's worldwide, just making access. You want to talk about why they're here? You want to talk about why you're here? They're trying to turn the march around, it looks like. I'm not sure what happened at the other end. The police were saying they're opening up some barricades. I don't know if that happened or didn't happen. I mean, I have no idea. I'm just in the middle of this thing. Oh, you good? Yeah, it kind of feels like we're this stuck in the middle of a mass of people that doesn't really know which direction it's going right now. Just seeing where we head. We'll try to stick along the edge here. And go to what will now be the front, from my understanding. So I'm just going to read some International Court of Justice ruling was the following. Yeah, you're great. The International Court of Justice ruling, the state of Israel's continued presence in the occupied Palestinian territory is unlawful. The state of Israel is under an obligation to bring an end to its unlawful presence in the occupied Palestinian territory as rapidly as possible. The state of Israel is under an obligation to cease immediately all new settlement activities and to evacuate all settlers from the occupied Palestinian territory. The state of Israel has the obligation to make a reparation for the damage caused to all natural or legal persons concerned in the occupied Palestinian territory. All states are under an obligation not to recognize as legal the situation arising from the unlawful presence of the state of Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory, and not to render aid or assistance to maintain the situation created by the continued presence of the state of Israel in occupied Palestinian territory. The International Court of Justice. And a lot of these things I'm reading to you are actually just coming from the UN, different human rights groups within. Like the UN's made up this giant organization and different facets of it, and there's been studies being into what's going on. These are sort of the directives that they're coming up with. And we're going to talk about the UN a lot because we're here. United Nations is having speeches, bringing world leaders together to talk about the situation. And this is what everything, it's things they've already stated.
We want justice, you say how? Justice, you say how?
Yeah, it's just a lot of people. It's just everywhere we go, there's different chants, different groups. People selling flags. It looks like they're trying to turn the march around. So that means we're heading away from the United Nations, pretty sure. The police are walking away as well. So they're aware that they're heading this way. Yeah, so it sounds like they ran into barricades and turned the march around. And now, from my understanding, I think we're heading in another direction. Towards where we started, maybe, I'm not sure. Anybody who can talk about what's going on? I'm with the Indian question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is what's going on here today.
I'm sorry?
This is what's going on here today. Watch people.
So there's thousands of people behind us right now. We're here to protest the fact that there's a war criminal in our city, Benjamin Netanyahu, the butcher of Gaza, who's responsible for the murder of tens of thousands of people, is here in this city, is going to speak at the UN, and our country is just letting it happen. There's a warrant out for his arrest, and instead our country is just letting him land here and do whatever he wants. And that's because our country is just as responsible for this genocide as Netanyahu is. So we're going to stay on the streets. We're going to take the streets today, tomorrow, every day that we can until Palestine is free, until we make sure we get an arms embargo and that this war criminal and war criminals like him are under arrest.
Is there other, we have today, we're going to have tomorrow. I mean, is there other events coming up where people are organizing to keep putting pressure on the United States?
There's events almost every week here in the city. Just last week we had a protest for Lebanon. Every single week there's protests happening. If you just follow the Palestinian Youth Movement, the People's Forum. You'll see where they're at. And every Monday, we get people together in a meeting and we organize and make sure that we have plans for the rest of the week. So I'd recommend you follow us because there's always stuff happening in the city because the city is the heart of the empire and is full of criminals just like Biden and Netanyahu.
And I don't know if we can speak to it. Like right now, Climate Week is going on. This war is going on. The climate's wildly out of control. Like, what would you say are these things related?
These things are completely related. They just show that the ruling class is only interested in making profit. They profit off of climate change. They profit off of war. And actually, they don't care if the majority of the people on this planet die before they get their dollar. So we need to make sure that we're fighting this system. And we need to make sure that we win because it's not just this war, but it's the entire future of the planet that depends on it.
I'm hearing that a lot. What happens in Gaza is going to happen to all of us.
When we say Gaza will free us all, we really mean that because this war machine just keeps on expanding. And Gaza is the critical front right now where liberation will mean liberation for all of us. It will mean a major crack in the empire. And that's exactly what we need to be able to win.
Right, thank you so much. All right, I'm going to try to get interviews. I'm having a hard time, but we'll do our best. It's the organizer for the Palestinian Youth Movement. You can see this line of, again, these are like police officers, I don't know, blue shirts maybe. And then you have the folks in white shirts that are like higher in the hierarchy. They're the ones that are giving orders to the darker colored shirt folks and what they do. You have light, like community affairs officers. They're supposed to be like the soft-headed ones. They're out like talking to the people. They're here too, and there's just a lot of police. There's some of there's different, I don't know what you would call them. It looks like groups of 20 marching ahead of the march at different sides of the road. So, for worker solidarity action with Palestine, for international workers, I have just reading signs. Palestinians are freedom fighters. Shutting out Hamas there. The Lebanon flag. Ooh, this wasn't in my face. Looks like we get to the end of the march. We'll kind of like swing into it here. Palestine will be free. Free all Palestinian political prisoners. Free Leonard Peltier is a political prisoner here in the United States. Again, we are live in the traditional Lenape lands, also known as New York City. We started on this march at Bryant Park. We're live with the Arrest Netanyahu at the United Nations protest organized with the Palestinian Youth Movement, People's Forum, and the Answer Coalition. Israel, led by the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has continued to escalate their intentional and direct attacks on civilian population, particularly affecting women and children. As a quote, international and direct attacks from a UN report. In Gaza and the West Bank. According to the Gaza's Ministry of Health, over 40,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israel's bombardments, with almost half of them being children and 710 of them under the age of 1. Israel, led by the Prime Minister, Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has continued these attacks. Although most of the world has seen the most documented genocide in history, it's been called like the live stream genocide. It has not stopped. Israel has not stopped their killing, and the United States has not stopped supplying it. Within the past 9 days, Israel detonated cell phones and walkie-talkies in Lebanon and Italy. Wait, why don't I just follow that much? Anyways, sorry, a lot going on. So these attacks, with the missile attacks, the walkie-talkie attacks, cell phone attacks, killed over 588 Lebanese civilians. I think those particularly the missile attacks. And Lebanon declared that it was on September 23rd was the deadliest day in its history. And the United States has given Israel approximately $47.3 billion in aid. And I think that number just went up from what we're hearing in these speeches. As the UN Forum features leaders from across the world's desire for peace, we ask what does that mean? Israel's ambassador described Israel as a peaceful nation the day after killing 588 Lebanese civilians, the deadliest day in the country's history, and it being found in the ethnic cleansing and genocide of Palestinians since 1948. World leaders of the UN continue to vent their frustration at the inability to barter a ceasefire as Israel continues its genocide against the Palestinian people and raids Al Jazeera press offices in the West Bank. And during this live, we know that Israel is moving more military assets into the West Bank and the Lebanese border, signaling an all-out invasion. Thank you who've joined us today to kind of see what's going on here in the streets for this live. As indigenous people of this continent, we also say no genociders on stolen land, liberation for all our people, our Palestinian relatives, and other than human relations. We want a livable future for the children, land back, and freedom for all political prisoners like Leonard Peltier.
Palestine will be free. Palestine.
Like I said, I'm not sure where it's at right now, but right now I think it's Hurricane Helena is in the Gulf of Mexico. It was slated to become a Category 4. It was a tropical storm, but once it hits the Gulf of Mexico and the record warm waters of the Gulf, if you have not been following climate change, if you have not been following the warming of the oceans, unprecedented warmth, which is causing all sorts of problems, including the much written about and predicted acceleration of monster storms, which have been striking all over the world. I mean, if you look at these 1,000-year storms that are unleashing rainfall at unprecedented levels, it's wild to kind of watch all these predictions come true. That's the time we're living in. And as it seems like we're on the verge of an out-of-control war in the Middle East that's continuing to accelerate. The war in Ukraine and Russia continuing to accelerate. More and more weapons being prepped. The civil war in Sudan. Who always pays the cost to the civilians and the people of those lands. So yeah, we are always calling for peace. Peace is always going to be the future. Love is always going to be the future. I gotta say it. I think about a friend of mine, like, love is always going to be the future. And we gotta find a way there. There's all of these conflicts that you're seeing happen, this unity, people fighting in the streets, people fighting in the halls of power, all of the sort of weird things that people say on the internet, that's all happening on this planet. And without it, none of it will happen. So in the end, the land has to come first. The animals have to come first. We have to find a way to save all that. So I guess we continue to do, I guess, the conflicts we're having in the streets. But none of it's going to happen without the earth. So I hope the people come around. It's Climate Week. This protest, again, is just on the back of this massive storm, which I think it was like a century since a storm this wide has ever hit. And the acceleration of it from a tropical storm to a Category 4 hurricane was unprecedented. An unlivable storm surge is hitting the coast of Florida. Officials were asking people to evacuate. And another thing, as we think about conflict, think about what's going on in Lebanon, people are like, well, why don't they just leave? Well, when you're from a place, you're going to leave to your neighbor's house or where your relatives live that's actually from the place too. You're not going to leave when everyone you know is there. And the only place to go to is there. And also it's important to mention that people also don't have the resources to leave. They can't just rent or pay all of the gas prices to get somewhere else, to find some hotel to stay in. Like, people don't have those resources. So we're always asking people at least to do the impossible as though it's the simplest thing. Just leave. Already, island nations have gone underwater. Already, we've asked them to relocate. Already, people have been moving and forced to move from lands that are uninhabitable. And this already happened in the past. You know, as we're here as indigenous people, we know what that's like. We forced off lands into other people's, forced off those lands into other people's, and then being told that the land you're on now is where you're staying and is now supposedly yours. I'm really excited to have brought you out here today. Again, my name is Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media at the NDN Collective. This is a Arrest Netanyahu protest organized by the People's Forum, the Palestinian Youth Movement, and the Answer Coalition. I'm part of the tactical media team for the Indian Collective. Keep following us. You can, let me get this number right for you so I don't mess it up. But if you want to get these updates of where we're at, we travel around. You can text Landback, Landback, love to spell, Landback, to the number 50302. 50302. Text Landback. You'll get SMS updates on our campaigns. You can also sign up for our newsletter for the latest updates. Again, I know it always feels weird to sign up to the email list. I'm with you all day, every day. But in the time of age right now where all these platforms that we're using to bring this information to you are not our platforms, if you do give us those email addresses, we'll be able to reach you no matter what happens. All right, we have to bring this, like I said, we'll be alive for about 2 hours. We're about hitting that mark. We're going to move to the side here and cut it down. Again, I'm Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media here at the Indian Collective. Thank you so much for joining us here in the streets of New York City, traditional Lenape territory. We're going to take this feed down. I'm not sure if that's where this march is going to go. It might be going on for hours. But we wanted to just bring you out here for a short time. Again, organized with the People's Forum, the Answer Coalition, the Palestinian Youth Movement. I wish I talked to a few more people. This is how it went. And so we'll try to keep working on that. Big thank you to our remote team out there for the tactical media team getting this to you. We'll see you at the next one. Again, send those SMS messages, get those updates. We'll see you in the streets.
Thank you.